So membership masterminds it's essentially intended to be like a free online community for membership and really anyone in the association space. So membership people is really the focus, but anyone who's focused on membership as a whole. Sometimes we go a little bit off topic, like now we're talking about AI. Ideally, we can talk a little bit about how we're using AI in membership efforts, but really the whole point of this community is to give you all a free space to ask each other questions, have conversations about topics that are top of mind. And so we started with a LinkedIn community that is relatively quiet, but it still exists if you have questions or if you ever want to chat with people there. And then we started doing monthly roundtables, and we saw that most people are actually getting more value from the monthly roundtables. And you can join as many or as few as you would like. But the whole idea for these roundtables is to, again, make it like an engaging conversation as if we were talking with somebody, as if we were talking with each other at an actual table over lunch, right? So we always encourage people to have their cameras on if they can, if they're comfortable with it, and jump in and converse at any point. I'm not going to give a presentation. I don't have any thing to present because again, the intention is to make this hour a conversational one and to base it off of what you all are looking to talk through. Um, this is powered by Prop Fuel. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Brittany. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager at Prop Fuel. We are a member insights and engagement platform. If you are not already familiar with who we are, let me know. I'm happy to explain that further. But again, it's powered by us, but it's not intended to be an hour for us to pitch the product. We just saw an opportunity and happened to be a vendor in the space. But again, the whole idea is for you guys to talk about what you all are focused on. So, without further ado, today's topic is about AI in associations. So, a few folks last month had mentioned that they wanted to know a little bit more about how people are using AI, whether or not associations are even implementing AI. And so, I like to open up the floor to you all first before I start with some of our seed questions to see like what brought you here. What are you just here to listen in? In the chat, actually, go ahead and mention if you're just here to listen, let me know. Um, and if you actually have some questions, you can either drop them in the chat or raise your hand and we can get the conversation going. Not everyone at once. Anyone?
I can start. Sorry for no
Woo!
camera.
No worries,
Um,
man.
so we don't have a formal policy yet for AI, and so people are kind of going off and doing their own thing in the wild, wild west generally. Um, so what I am working on now with AI is pulling together a lot of roundtable notes and um, different satisfaction surveys and that sort of thing, mostly qualitative data. And I'm using AI to kind of look through and let us know what are our members' pain points and what are the themes that they keep bringing up. Is there any kind of idea around prevalence and that sort of thing? How many people are telling us the same things? And then what could we do as an association to start looking at resources that could possibly help them? So that's what we're using it right now. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but that is that is what I'm doing.
For what it's worth, Megan, I think no one knows if they're doing it
Yeah, I
right.
know. I
I
know.
don't know if there's like a right way to do it.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any thoughts, feedback on that? I think it's maybe taking a step back. I put this in the chat too. Like, are you all using AI in some way, shape, or form? Because Megan, it sounds like you kind of went into, okay, I'm using it and here's how. So that might be
Mm-hmm.
a good start too, is are you using it and in what way? Is it in a personal way? Meaning, like, are you using it as support for the work that you're doing? Are you using it for your members? Meaning, do you give, are there AI related things that you're providing your members? Um,
Brittany, can I
I
offer some feedback if that's okay?
yes, please do, Randy.
BI is a statewide agency in New Jersey, statewide employer association rather. And I think since last year, what we started doing with our small but mighty team of about 30 to 35 employees, um, there was such a mixed use when leadership started to ask like who's using it, how can we use it, being that it's in such its infancy stages still, that they just started offering some staff-wide training where we brought in like NJIT here in the state, New Jersey Institute of Technology to kind of just start a ground level, basic use training for all the staff, and then I think we're starting to build on that to see how different departments can utilize it in different ways. But again, it's still so new, for most folks, that we just started education and hey, here are different programs that we can use. This is what you can do with it, to try to just start to identify some uses for different departments and how we can use it as a complete association.
Love it.
I can jump in. Uh, we have paid company accounts with Claude that we use and are encouraging across our staff. And so we have a lot of staff individually that are sharing projects across there or and are training it on industry trends, what we're seeing in our specific vertical. We do have an AI, as I mentioned, that AI policy. We have an internal AI task force helping to drive adoption of it internally. And we have a lot of people in a spectrum of how advanced they are with use of it. We use it a lot for just cleaning up messaging, for general email communication, but we also have it integrated with our AMS. So one thing that we did that was, I think, awesome is we have an engagement report we use a Fontiva. We have an engagement report with Fontiva, and we have a specific output for these one-page summaries of member benefits that our CEO is doing a listening tour with some of our larger member accounts right now. And so he wants a report of key information about each company prior to those listening calls he's doing. And so because it's connected to our database, we're able to say, take a look at this Fontiva engagement report for this company and give us a one-page summary of high level of how they're engaging that our CEO can use on these listening tours. So that's a very practical way that we're using it, but it's helpful because the staff time of going through all the information and prepping that for our CEO was taking about 20 to 30 minutes a time to do that, pulling out the key things that we wanted in the engagement report for him to know. And now we've trained, we have a project in Claude that is trained, and a few of our account managers share that project and are able to use the same template and have that as an output for our CEO for those calls. So I hope that that example is helpful.
Yeah, I love that efficiency for sure. How did your company get comfortable with connecting? Like, what was the process you guys went through in order to connect Claude to your AMS? I feel like there are likely some hesitancies for some groups to connect certain AI features or systems or whatever it may be to like member databases.
Oh, having paid company private accounts is a big part of it. So that's only available on that
Love it.
account setup. But our AI task force internally is made up of members from our legal team, members from
Mhm.
our IT team, membership, research and data. I said IT, so it's a mix of
Yep.
people across. So we're talking about those things when we came up with our AI policy there, and then how we are going to encourage our staff to use it and how we are going, the
Yeah.
determination to hook it up to our database with paid private cloud accounts, that sort of thing. We vetted those things as an AI task force.
Nice.
I have a
I like it.
question for Diana.
Who's
So
this?
we
Who's
also,
talking? Oh, bye.
Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Dave,
Dave, raise your
uh,
hand.
I was like,
hi.
had the chat in front
This
of
is
you.
great. It's a great problem to have of like, there's so many faces. Where do we find you?
So
Sorry,
we
go ahead, Dave.
decided, we have the team playing in a lot of different AI tools right now. And for us, because we have so many, we're a Microsoft house, we already have Office 365 and are utilizing their Copilot
Mhm.
365 license, which allows us to input our own data without worrying about it going out into the ether. So if we are trying to share proprietary information, we use 365, and then the team is exploring on other tools as well, just for general search. I think different options like Claude have different value propositions versus other ones. It just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. But Diana, my question for you, what made you decide on going with Claude for your AI tool connected to Salesforce or Fontiva instead of like Einstein, which is the Salesforce AI tool? Was it again just because you had the Claude license for everything else? And did you consider Einstein as the Salesforce AI tool?
Um, I do not know if they looked at Einstein specifically, but that came from a recommendation from our IT team who vetted a number of options before we decided on paid Claude accounts.
Okay.
I personally wasn't part of that decision. We also went through, as an organization, it was required. Ricochet did is it a 10-week course on AI for associations, and it was a requirement of our entire staff to go through that. It was kind of nice because they used Claude a lot for that training as well. And so it made it really easy when they're having us practice things during the training using Claude, and we all had Claude accounts as well. So like it made it very easy to put some of that immediately into practice there. But I do not know, to your answer, Dave, specifically if we looked at Einstein or not. I'm assuming we likely did, but we did decide to go with Claude. Another example that I've used, because as I was able to build out a skill within Claude for my own personal use, for professional use, but I have it run the skill once a week and to tell me which emails from ASAE's Collaborate platform are worth reading, because I told it what I care about, what my biggest trends are right now, and the things that I am following closely in terms of our biggest challenge, my personal biggest challenges that we're having with membership. And so I have it connected to my Microsoft Outlook when I run that skill, and it says, hey, in the last 7 days, these are the Collaborate emails you should go and read because they're based on the topics you told me you care about. And so that's a way that it's helping me too. Yes, that's
I love
the
that.
course, Megan, in the chat.
I like it. Yeah, Diana, I have got a morning digest scheduled and an end of day digest. So it'll pull any chats from like Slack, it'll pull things from my emails, from any call recordings I have, and basically do a summary of like, here's what's on the docket for today. And then at the end of day, it's like, you've got 30 minutes left in your day. Here are the things that need attention before you log off. It's super helpful.
Super helpful.
Yeah. All right. What else are people thinking about? Anyone have any other questions for Diana, or anyone want to?
No, I want to learn from all of you. I want to know what you all are doing. That's why I
Dan's like,
came.
I gotta go. I'm muting myself now. Just here to
I feel
listen.
like I just like a toe in the water or
Yeah.
toe in the pool trying to learn. So I'm sure some of you guys are doing some really cool things. Would love to hear.
Yeah, I would be interested in hearing how else people are using it. Again, it can be a matter of, I think somebody had mentioned they created an AI bot or chat bot for their members. So you can have things like that on the website that allow it, basically it's pulling information for your members from your site so that they're given the information that they need and what they're looking for. I know we've got things like BettyBot in the world where people can create essentially like this large LLM and pull all of the information, like members can get information immediately based off of all of the data that it's collected from the organization as a whole. Um, and then, yeah, there's the personal use as well. How is AI making your job easier? How is it helping your members, etc.? Anyone else have examples to speak to?
Yeah, I can jump in.
Love
So
it,
we have
Scott.
a company contract with Gemini. So all IEEE members have a Gemini account. I've probably been using it as more like a personal assistant. We probably have to do a price sensitivity test for membership next year. So we pulled a segment of, I did a lot of the counts in Excel myself, but then when I took my all my little segments over like 5 years. I then put it into Gemini and said, give me a trend analysis graph. What's trending up, down, where are we strong, good, and all that. And it gave me a report in, minutes where I would have spent days. It probably took me part like half a day to a day to pull all the data, which was spread over a week, which really wasn't that bad. But, trying to analyze the report and put it all 5 years together would have been a lot longer than the 10 minutes I spent talking back and forth with it. So that's where I've been using, and that's where it's been like a time saver. And I've been doing a lot of stuff. We're pulling the data from Excel myself and then having it create graphs and charts for me. That's really easy. There's one year I missed a year worth of data in the middle, but I had it give me what the expected value was. And at first I was like, oh, like give me a good year, a bad year, and like an average year, right? And then I just went, that line was pretty stable throughout, so I just went with the expected one. Um, but you can tell it like, I told it like, well, that's expected, so make that, I think it was using like a triangle for its marker. So I said, well, make that triangle like hollow with just the outline. So like a visual reminder. So you can tell it do anything you want. We had a giant global student challenge. We're a global association too. We had like 450 teams register, so we had to dedupe the list, and I used that to help me dedupe it, like find anyone who entered it twice, but they also had a partner. So Billy entered with Sally. We also had some instances where Sally also entered with Billy. So we used that, and I said, also tell me what rows they're in so I could like sort of double check it. Because it was overcautious, but it found like Billy and Sally are going to like UCLA, and then they found out Billy and Sally going to like GW, which are like obviously different people, but
Yeah.
so it wasn't perfect, but having the rows was able to be like, I was able to check their emails, their LinkedIn profiles, and be like, yeah, these are different people. So that's where I've been using it, and it's been definitely helpful.
Nice. So some reporting and some data cleanup.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's good. Again, it's like, um, I feel like there's been this fear of people saying like AI is going to take my job. I would encourage people to kind of shift the perspective of like, how do I get so good at AI? It's making my job better and it's making me irreplaceable in a sense of like, I'm getting more done because I'm using this as support as opposed to like, oh, it's going to do my job, my work for me. Because you're always going to need somebody to be guiding it to do the thing that you need.
One thing I forgot, we also did we got this grant where we can have students apply for free membership, and we had them type like a 300 word prompt, and we got too many, we couldn't grade it. So only if they got like, we have a complicated membership model. So if they passed all validation, we gave them the free membership. But I'm
Hmm.
gonna build like something in AI, probably like what Diana did, and have it score all the prompts because we have like close to 700 prompts that are 300 words. So it also gave us 700 free testimonials. We asked them like, how would they benefit from the
Wow.
membership? So I need to sit down and like build a rubric for it and like grade it on like X, Y, and Z. I sort of have an idea in my head, but I haven't like typed it out. But yeah, we're also gonna use
Hmm.
it for that. So it's a great way to like, rubric score things. We're gonna try for that as well because we can't read. We can't read 700, 300 word responses.
Yeah, it would take forever. Nice. Good use cases. Anyone else got an example they want to share? I'm I'm also interested in hearing, are people primarily using, when we talk about AI in associations, do people primarily think about AI for staff? Meaning, are we talking when we're thinking about AI, you hear the conversation, we're going to talk about AI. Is it how is our staff using it to be more efficient and effective? Or are we thinking like, how can we utilize AI in a fashion that makes our members' lives easier? I personally like typically will be like, how do I make my life easier? But we also have the perspective of like from the vendor side, you can think of it like our clients are our members, right? How do we help them do their job better? It's very similar in associations. Like your members are your clients. How do you help them do their job better? Are there ways or things that you all have implemented for your members specifically to help them with certain things? Whether it be navigate your site easier. I don't even have a ton of examples, but
I'm curious about the chat bot because I go back
yeah.
and forth, and I think that's my former organization used that from a member standpoint to get questions answered more easily and things like that. However, from a personal standpoint, chatbots start to drive me crazy because if you don't ask it exactly what you're trying to get at, or you don't ask it something that it has in its little back pocket, then you get caught in these loops. But I feel
Mhm.
like there's definitely more from the make your job easier, but I think from a member perspective, our organization was trying to use it also um, to help our members out with something like a chat or even using it for meeting notes. I think when you're on a committee meeting, I think it also helps the members to get the notes quicker and follow-ups faster.
AI note taker's been amazing for meetings for us. I've also had a lot of success in helping to identify potential speakers across the country for events to really hone in on, if you have this subject, to find the best people. And, I found somebody, we're based outside of DC in Atlanta for an event in Atlanta that I had no idea they existed. And basically talking to Claude, just like a conversation, helped hone in on the perfect speaker for the membership. I would not have found them on my own.
Nice. For the chatbots, have who all has a chat, like an AI generated chatbot on their site or in their member portal? Does anyone? I feel like someone had said they do. Nessie, Janet. Do any of you want to speak to like how that's set up? Are people using it? I think there's a couple of questions. Are people using it? How is it set up? Meaning like, are you feeding it all the information? Can you adjust the questions? I would be interested in like related to Catherine's question. If you see somebody or multiple members start to go through these loops, they're asking the same question and they're not getting answers. Can you jump in and adjust that? Like, how's everything set up? I'm actually not very familiar with that.
Yeah, I can share our experience with it. We've been live with Zendesk over a year now, and it's gone very well. We thought we would have a lot of pushback, but we have it both answering our written member inquiries that come in via email and our from our website, and those people that go to our knowledge center and have more questions. So it's a lot of setup. I'm not going to say it's nothing, but once you get it in there, get all of your sort of articles and how you're, where it can, the knowledge base sort of updated, it will draw from that primarily, but it also will scan your entire website and your, like, we have a lot of extensive journal articles and things like that. So you can tell it where to go for its knowledge, in addition to just the articles that you've already written, like how do I cancel my membership? What's my member number? Those kinds of things. And then if you find, which we find all the time, that we're getting questions that it's not able to address, we just go up and update the knowledge base, and that can be done same day, same hour, whatever. So that doesn't happen that often anymore. The response has been very positive because, I have a survey and things like that. So it will take a first stab at everything that comes in, and then all of its answers are reviewed by an actual person. And if they've answered the question, that's fine, that's done. It's just saved or logged or, solved. It's marked as solved. And then if it needs more, the response also goes out and says somebody is going to be reviewing it on the ASM team, and if more information is needed, they will follow up with you. And so we have people all day long that are on our customer service team that look at the responses and say, "Yep, that's fine, solved. Nope, this one needs more," and then they, add some more to it. So it's been, shockingly well received. I thought we would have more pushback. And, we get, I'm going to say 800 to 1,000 inquiries a month.
Wow.
And so it's just made it, a lot of the inquiries, again, are how do I log in? And what's my member number? Things like that are really easily answered. And so it's just saved so much time.
Yeah, I like it. And I think that brings up a good point, Janet. I think really, and there's been a lot of conversation in the chat on this too. I think when it comes to chatbots, it's about setting the right expectations for both staff and for your members, right? So for staff, it's a matter of the chatbot can only do so much. It can only refer to the things that we feed it. It can only pull information from the information that we give it. And so setting that expectation there of like, it's not going to know everything unless we give it everything. And then on the member side too, you could always put on the site like AI chatbot is here to support with logging in, finding your member number, navigating the website. If you need something more, you can always contact our team via email or by this phone number. So again, it's kind of like setting that expectation of this is here to guide you to the information that you're looking for. So you don't have to make that phone call if it's as simple as I can't find where to log in. I can't find this resource that I know is on the website.
I should also mention that right now we only have it across our membership pages. We keep
Oh,
pushing
okay.
our meetings and events pages to do it because, again, so much of their questions are repetitive. But there has been sort of a hesitancy to adopt it, I guess, sort of writ large across the entire website. But it's coming. It's just iterating off of it. I think
Mm-hmm.
that people are encouraged by what we're seeing in membership, that we haven't had people go, yeah, because as soon as you say, I want to speak to somebody, you can speak to a live agent right away.
Yeah.
If you're in the chat and it dings up on their computer and they pop right in and say, hey, how can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
This, so and so. How can I help you?
Yeah.
So,
Um, what organization are you with, Janet? Are you a travel
uh,
association?
it's ASM, which is the American Society for Microbiology, kind of, but we've just
Okay.
rebranded, so now we're just ASM.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Just wanted to throw that out there in case people wanted to check out the website.
Be able to share what is it costing for Zendesk? That's a good question. I don't really know off the top of my head. I can check and get back to you, Kevin.
Thank you. Somebody had also asked, how would you use AI to assist with data cleanup, identifying duplicates? What are their functions? So Scott, I think you had talked about that a little bit ago with using like Excel sheets and having AI go through and identify duplicates and figure out basically identify who needs the attention. I think that's part of it too, is like AI might not be perfect. I think we talk a lot about how AI can get you from 0 to 80 or 90% most of the time. But oftentimes there's this like the 90 to 100% needs a little bit more love and a little bit more human attention. So with like data cleanup, I think it can be like AI can get you from 0 to 80 to 90%, meaning it can tell you a good chunk of information that's accurate, and then it just makes you hone in on that small percentage that is not. But yeah, is anyone else using AI to assist with data cleanup? While there is a lull here, quick pitch on a webinar I am doing on Friday, which is all about data. Uh, so if you want to learn a little bit more, we could talk about it then too. But if you guys have ideas that I could also take with me to that webinar, I'll give you credit. That would be awesome. I love speaking to real examples.
Brittany, you mentioned it's not
Yeah.
100% perfect, right? I've been using it a
Hmm.
lot for writing and editing lately.
Hmm.
And one just kind of word of warning to people is that if you don't ask for the edit 100% correctly, sometimes it'll make a change and then you ask it to make another change and then it changes what it did first. So like sometimes it takes more liberty to edit than perhaps you wanted it to. And so someone mentioned they have it tell them what it did. And so now I've been asking, like, please highlight what you've changed so that I can go back
Mm,
and check if I don't have it 100%, because I think this is in Copilot that I was mostly getting that kind of, it's not a problem, but an aggravation, I guess. But
yeah.
one thing to watch out for because you might have it change one thing and then it adjusts more than you'd like it to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone asked about using it for mentor-mentee pairings, which we decided to try
Mm,
for the first time last month. And when we went through like its first output, we realized it jumbled the rows. So like it didn't maintain, if Catherine was the VP of membership, it didn't maintain that as her title when it was moving around data to make a match. And so we were trying to QA it and we were like, that's not their title. They don't work at that company with the name. And so it was a little jumbled. So then we had to back out and we had to say, give very specific instructions, like keep keep these things all together when you're making these matching and look at these things. And it wasn't perfect. I think it saved some time. It did save some time, but um, one of the things that we found with our mentor mentee pairings is we've always done them manually and we've always gotten a lot of amazing feedback on the pairings. Like, how did you know I needed this person? And like, I can really tell that you made a good match. And so we've had a little more like, I'm uh it saved time, but I think we don't have the same quality of matching quite yet with the first go of our pairings. Like we need to train it more on the nuances.
As it's training you, right? Like it's training you to ask the
Yeah,
question
to be
better.
clearer,
And
yes.
it's like talking to a toddler or teenager, I feel like. You have to be just so specific. Don't ask it more than one question at
yes.
once. Like just be very clear.
Yes. The number of times I will give a prompt and before it starts, I always say, do you understand? Or like ask me the questions you need to in order to get this right the first time. But that's very important. First of all, just one side note, when I worked in the association space, I don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning, but I did, again, was in membership roles. I also led our mentor programs. And if I had AI to help me match people, that took days and days
It
of
took us days too.
oh my gosh, wow, that would have been
We
so cool.
But
Anyway,
I will say it wasn't perfect. And so sometimes I
no,
think the
it
harder
won't
part
be
was that, like, I think we still had to go line by line and review each one. So it saved some time.
sometime.
But then
Yeah.
when you were like, oh, this isn't the right match because of this reason, then we had to go and figure out who would be a better match. And we didn't have a bunch of extra people laying around that didn't get matched to pair up in place of it. So it was interesting. It was a first go. It'll get better from there.
Yeah. And that's the other piece too. I think it's a mix of Diana and Catherine who had said this is like the prompting of it is huge. If I'm not sure how to prompt better, I will ask. I typically use Claude now, but I'll go into ChatGPT and just say like, this is what I need. Can you draft a prompt for me to help make it happen? So I'll prompt for a prompt because again, like the more specific you can get, the better off you'll be as long as the specifics that you're asking for are actually what you want and need. Because if you get specific, it'll give you not 100% of the time, but a good chunk of time, it will give you what you ask for. But again, just make sure that that specific piece is what you want. Um, One of the other things, so for data cleanup, I do feel that associations can probably get a little bit hesitant with feeding data. It's going to be very dependent on what data you have and what data you're trying to clean up. Um, we I know I said I wasn't going to pitch this, but we just implemented like signals and segments, this whole like membership AI concept in the platform. And so what it does is it can identify for you the people who don't have certain fields completed or the people who might not have filled out certain fields in X amount of time. So it can identify these signals, build a segment for you of this group of members don't have their graduation date filled in. And then you can send them an email, which is then asking the member to fill in or correct that information. You could also pull, like, say there's inconsistent titles or whatever it may be. Granted, it's putting the onus on the member. And if you're asking them for something very specific, they could still mess it up because we're human. But that is one other way to look at it too, is if you don't want to give the data to AI, how can you use AI to segment the information or the members with the information that you need and then communicate with the members for that information? That's one other thought too. What else are people thinking about? No other burning question. Are people burnt out from AI yet? Or is it like, are we getting a second wind? I feel like there's this huge like wave of AI. And then I don't know about you all, but I got just caught up in that. And then I was taken ashore and was like, I need to get away from this for a little bit. And now it's back. And I'm in another wave of it, I think. Anyone? Overwhelmed. Yes. Is anyone else overwhelmed by AI? How are they learning about new things?
I won't call it overwhelmed. Information is important, but just wanted to mention that how we're using our AI bots. Uh, that mm, we're feeding it with information regarding the changes in trade, which is very hot topic these days. And so I don't know. I'm with CEFA. So CEFA is the Associations for Logistics Companies in Canada. And since changing the trade and everything was affecting all the members, we're feeding the AI bot. So if people have questions, they can go there, check, and then it will give them the links. But the problem is that now we every day we have to update that. So that becomes a problem because everything is changing almost every day with the customs and with the new changes in import export regulations. But other than that, because first of all, it's very new for us. It's less than 1 year that we're using it. But we found that it's really, really like of interest for our members. Last month, I think we had something around 20,000 questions. So it was like I don't know, but it was in different things, whatever regard like about our industry. Um, but I would say it's just a little not easy to now to teach that AI bot. But yeah, but again, like because it's adding lots of value, it's good.
20,000 questions is a lot. That is a lot. Anyone else? Anyone have questions about that or the setup? Any other use cases to share? What's top of mind? Is there anything, or I guess I would say, what is blocking you, whether it be like individually or as an organization, what's blocking you from using it more or from testing new things? Is it time, like the time that it takes you to learn it and keep up with the changes that are coming? Is it the data piece, like not having that security of everything is going to be confined to our organization still? Is it other staff maybe?
Yeah, it takes lots of time to feed the correct
Yeah.
information to it. So we found out that now a couple of people are feeding different parts to this AI bot, but we found that we might need someone to be responsible for that. Mm, but it's I don't know, like, and we're still debating what is the best way, because there are some advocacy items that we have a team for that, some other like questions regarding the industry, like even we have questions about, okay, so I'm going to move this shipment from here to there, what is the best term to use, or like even to these things. But yeah, now it becomes a problem. Like for myself, like I have to every day go and check something with it, and it's just a little addition to our responsibilities.
Just give an example of, why things that make me concerned about it or hesitant to use certain things. Somebody mentioned the Ricochet course earlier on, and there was a really good example of using a member. You could have like your president create a video and make it look like it's from them, pass it through them, and then have them do a video that's all AI created. And I think the association world is a little more hesitant to take on some of those kinds of trends. And working for members, I've been in physician organizations, so I think there's some hesitancy about how you use it to speak on behalf of your board or president or whatnot. So I think there's some really cool things. However, the AI video creation or AI, even some of the imagery just it's not quite good enough yet, I feel like, for some organizations.
Hmm. Yeah, we haven't even talked about AI for just like design and content and yeah, things like that.
We had
Hmm.
AI create a very, very simple logo for like a fund, but we got a very generous donation. We had a little bit of miscommunication. I thought the person passed, so we made some very floral logo and put the name of the fund to it in like Canva AI, and then I found out the person was very much alive, which is a good for the person, but not the logo and design we had to it, and that person was out, but we had to launch it. So I took the image, downloaded from Canva, put it into Gemini, and like I said, like, this person's alive and, it needs to not look like they passed. And it gave me something completely different and was pretty good. It wasn't, so it worked, but like real graphics, real imagery. I'm with the computer science and engineering society, so it's pretty well over my head. But I sort of so it's hard because we don't really understand what our members do. They do a lot of standards work with like AI and quantum computing and things like that. So like we sometimes we got to try to connect the imagery with something and we just don't know. So I use it for ideas, but the imagery is very childish. We quantum computing and Schrodinger's cat has the connection, so I was using Gemini to try to figure it out and ask for imagery ideas to see how we could pose a Schrodinger's cat with quantum, and it was not good, but I was just trying to see what ideas it had. So you can use it, I think, for idea generating, but not the actual images. It looks a little childish. So, but it's a good way to get ideas, I think.
Yeah, I would be interested in knowing who's used AI for like design. Um, the I've got some friends that are knee deep in this and they've connected like Claude to there's this app called Higgsfield and it basically pulls all of the best like image, video, etc. generators. And so if you put the prompts in Higgsfield, it can create something very, very realistic. I have not perfected that, so sometimes my people's hands are like on the wrong arm. But again, I think it can get us there. For me, the big block is like the time it takes to perfect that prompt and go through and make it an efficient use of my time. But it's interesting because we've had some designs that we created, like prototypes of backdrops using AI, and I'll give it to a designer and they can't recreate it like as well as AI could have, which is crazy. But yeah, there are definitely, I think too, Catherine, so it sounded like you had mentioned using AI, like an AI video of your president instead of having them speak on the video themselves.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
was an example that came in that Ricochet course. Like I think, I don't know if you take just like a snippet of a video from your member and then it can from there just create the
replicate
rest.
that.
Just yeah, with the voice and you give it the script and it just goes.
Yeah, it is interesting. I feel like that's something that you would need. Obviously, you'd need permission from the person you're creating the
Oh,
video
right.
for, but it would be
Right.
very cool in my mind if somebody's just not comfortable on camera or if they just don't have the time to sit down and do that. And then you guys don't have the time to edit it. Like if you could get some type of intro video and then share it with them or share it with AI and they could create like the fuller pitch. The other, I do feel like there's an opportunity there with making more like Avatar-esque, uh, cartoonish videos, like using it for education or something like a supplement to some of the learning and modules that you have for members alone. Like, is there a way that we could use AI to take this long paper and create this long white paper and create a quick fact sheet? Is that a benefit that our members would value of like a visual of everything that's coming from this white paper or this research study that's really heavy? Yeah, that's a good point too, Maureen. Oh, I also agree with you, Kevin. Some, there are some cute video avatars. I think it's you also, I don't know about you all, but I've seen ads on like before YouTube videos and on social media platforms where I'm like, wow, this is so obviously AI. These people aren't even talking in tandem with their words, but they look like real humans. It's crazy. But that's, yeah, very good point, Maureen. What else are people thinking about? Anything specific? I'd be interested in knowing if people can either jump, unmute themselves and speak to it quick with the last couple of minutes or just drop in the chat. I'd be curious to know like the one thing most recently that you've used AI for that just like changed everything for you. Um, One example for me is we do a lot of webinars and historically I've had to do all of my slide decks manually. And the last couple of webinars I've done, we've been able to do more because, oh, now I'm giving away my secret. We've been able to do more because I'll take my outline and my story and we have a brand style in Claude Design. and I'll ask Claude Design to like take that outline and make a slide deck for it. And it's incredible. It's saved me so much time and it does such a good job. And it's probably one of my favorite things to use right now. Anyone else have something that they can speak to?
I used it just recently, and it's not done, but I don't know, maybe I need help visualizing things. So I'm redesigning our web page, our membership page for some pretty big changes we're doing in the structure of our membership. So I just wanted to see suggestions on what it could look like and things like that. So it's not finalized, and we have a designer and we have web page people, but I want to give them some idea of what I'm thinking about. So I've used it as sort of idea generation for that. Whereas, if I were, years prior, if I wanted to
Yes.
do that, I would lay it out in Word, and it'd be like, well, maybe like this, maybe like this, and it takes a lot of time. So,
Yes.
so that was fun to just to feed in my ideas and see what they came up with. I haven't even finished it and gone back to give it to people, but I'll
I
get
love
there.
it.
So.
Yeah, I'm a visual person. So being able to see things, I'll take I moved into a new apartment and I took photos of kind of the setup I had. And then I asked ChatGPT, I'm horrible with design. So I'd ask ChatGPT, like, design this apartment for XYZ. And then you can ask it for like, okay, now go online and find links of products that look like
I
what
love
you
that.
designed. It's
That's
so cool.
fabulous. That's fabulous.
Yeah. The only issue is if you're indecisive like me, you'll ask it to make 5 versions and then you don't know which one you want to go with. There are worse things in life, though.
Yeah, no, that's good. I also my one of my kids is was looking for a job, and they didn't have a professional LinkedIn photo. So I took a picture that I really liked, just a natural picture of them that I really liked, and I said, like they were wearing a tank top or something. And I said, hey, make this a professional one, but don't make it look too perfect,
Hmm.
because we weren't looking for, I don't know, that kind of a stylized things. We still wanted it to look like it was a natural photo. So
Yeah.
it was great. Yeah. So
Yeah, you
it
can
worked out
feed
very
it.
well for that.
Yeah, you can feed it things. And if you tell it, I've found Gemini is the best at this. If you feed it a photo and you just need one thing changed, you can say, like, keep everything the same,
Yes.
change this single thing. And it
Yeah.
actually does a pretty decent job of like spitting back a photo of the exact thing
Yeah.
with whatever you asked changed. Translating laundry symbols, I love it. Oh my gosh, I've got a friend that uses ChatGPT for everything. Photo of this, what does this mean? How do I do this? How do I build this? Love it. All right, folks, we've got 5 minutes left. If you wouldn't mind dropping in the chat or again coming off mute to let me know what you all want to talk about next month. We love taking suggestions. We're also thinking of switching things up just a little bit for these, which is basically, it's kind of like a show and tell. So I think once a quarter, what we're going to do is invite some people that are doing things that are related to the topic at hand to kind of start the conversation. So for example, with today's conversation, it would have been people showing you how they're using AI. If you don't love that idea at all, please let us know. Go ahead and send me a note. You don't have to put it in the chat, and you're more than welcome to. I won't be offended. But we're just trying to think of other ways to help make these roundtables, again, more valuable. I'm personally a visual person. I love seeing examples of what people are doing. But if you prefer to keep it in an open conversation like this, that's also totally fine. Just let me know. Any feedback is appreciated. So if you guys have any thoughts of topics, things you want to talk about, renewal season is coming up for those of you on uh, calendar year memberships. That's always a fun time.
Oh, I've done things. I did something that I thought was pretty interesting. You're always
Yeah.
trying to reinvent the wheel with membership, renewal letters and acquisition and things like that. So I took like 4 or 5 examples of membership recruitment pitches or retention pitches that I
Oh,
had used, and I put them in. And I said, what am I missing? How
love
haven't
it.
I approached it? And so it gave me some ideas. I'm like, oh, I like that idea. I like that. I mean, so it's always a little bit of back and forth, but that
Sure.
was great because I'm using it a lot for, marketing copy and things like that. But it was good to say, hey, I took the things that were performing and said, this is what's performing. How can I make this better? What am I missing? So I think,
Yeah, I love it. I've done it too before where I've taken like really top organizations and I've said, analyze these websites, for example, and identify the best of the best things that they're doing and then figure out how we can replicate that. So it's like giving examples like
ooh,
that of like this isn't stuff that we have, but like these are the heavy hitters in the field. Like what are they doing really well and what are they doing that maybe isn't helping? Um,
I
and how
like
can we
that.
implement the things that we're doing well?
I,
So
I like that from my sample website designs, web page designs.
yeah. Oh yeah, that would be perfect for that. All right, folks. We've got 2 minutes left, but I think we're about we're about there with the combo. If you have anything else you want to add, I'll be on for the next 2, 3 minutes. If not, hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for participating. If you want to chat more about membership AI and what I was talking about before, let me know. Happy to chat. But yeah, hope to see you all next month.